Let's add and subtract the fractions 2 plus 1 1/10 minus 1 2/15 using our rules on the right. To add or subtract fractions, we first need common denominators, and once we have that, we'll either add or subtract the numerators. The problem in our situation is that firstly, our fractions are mixed numbers. So we'll convert these to improper fractions first. Then we'll find what the common denominator would be and convert each one of these three numbers into a fraction with a common denominator. So, to begin, we'll first write 2 as 2 over 1. Any number can be written over 1. Plus, next we'd like to convert 1 1/10 and 1 2/15 into improper fractions. To do this, we'll multiply the denominator by the whole part and then add the numerator written over the denominator. This will become 10 times 1 plus 1, all over the denominator of 10. Minus, and similarly we'll multiply 15 times 1 and then add 2 over the denominator of 15. So this will become 15 times 1 plus 2, all over the denominator of 15. Using order of operations, 10 times 1 plus 1 will be 10 times 1 is 10 plus 1 becomes 11 over 10. 15 times 1 plus 2 becomes 15 plus 2 becomes 17 over 15. Of course, we shouldn't forget we're subtracting that, and that we have a 2 over 1 in front. We now want to convert each one of these fractions to a fraction that will have a common denominator. To find what the common denominator is, let's list the multiples for each one of these three fractions. We'll omit the first one for a few minutes, 2 over 1, to look at what the multiples for 10 and 15 are. A multiple is where we'll list each sequential number after this first number by adding it. So 10, our first multiple is 10, and we'll continually add 10 to that. So our first multiple is 10, our second is 20, adding 10 again will become 30, adding 10 again becomes 40, 50, and 60, and so on. The multiples for 15, we'll start with our first multiple of 15 and continually add 15 to that. So we'd get 30, 45, and 60, and so on. Now for the multiples of 1, this might take a while, but we see that if we start with 1 and continually add 1, we'd get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on down the list. The least common multiple will be our common denominator. We can see in the second two, the first number that appears in each list the same is 30. And indeed, if we were to list in our first one, if we kept on going, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on, we'd sooner or later hit 28, 29, and we'd see 30 again in the first multiples. That means that 30 is the first number that appears in each list. And in fact, that's our common denominator. So now that we know what our common denominator is, we'd like to convert each one of these three fractions to another fraction where 30 will be in the denominator of each one. And that will become our common denominator. Next, we need to convert each one of these fractions to an equivalent fraction with the common denominator. And in each case, let's multiply each fraction, top and bottom, by something to make the denominator occur. So for example, what times 1 becomes 30? We would need to multiply by 30. And if we're multiplying the bottom by 30, we'd multiply the top by 30. So 30 times 2, our first equivalent fraction, would become 60 over 30. In our middle case, 10 times what is 30, we'd need to multiply that by 3, so we'd multiply the numerator by 3 as well. 3 times 11 becomes 33. And in our last case, 15 times what is 30, we need to multiply that by 2. So multiplying the bottom by 2, we'd multiply the top by 2. So 17 times 2 becomes 34. We now have 3 fractions that have common denominators. So using our rules at the top right says that if we add or subtract fractions that have common denominators, add or subtract the numerators and write that over the common denominator. That means that in our problem now, 60 thirtieths plus 33 thirtieths minus 34 thirtieths really becomes 60 plus 33 minus 34 thirtieths. Let's simplify the numerator for our final answer. 60 plus 33 going left to right would become 93. And 93 minus 34 becomes 59 over 30. If we wanted to write our answer as an improper fraction, our final answer to this problem is 59 thirtieths. However, since our problem started off as mixed numbers, maybe we wish to write the answer as a mixed number. That means we'll convert the improper fraction 59 thirtieths back to an improper fraction. How? 30 divides into 59 one whole time. With a remainder, 30 subtracted from 59 becomes 29 as a remainder out of what we were dividing by. So 59 thirtieths becomes 1 and 29 thirtieths as a mixed number. Depending on the directions, our answer is either the improper fraction 59 thirtieths or the mixed number 1 and 29 thirtieths.